Hey guys, welcome to my lifting series where I record every single set and rep that I do that I possibly can. Today is week 1, day 6 of my MyoMax hypertrophy program. You guys can get it in the description down below for $10, but honestly, you don't need it whatsoever to follow along. If you guys want to run the program, you just kind of scrub through these videos. I got timestamps and everything, so you know exactly what I'm doing. The only real benefit to buying the program is that you get the Excel document or the Sheets document if you convert it for yourself, so you can input your own numbers and track your own progress easily. But anyway, today is an accessory day, so I'm doing like some shoulders, some arms, I think that there's some abs in here towards the end. Today I'm starting with the dumbbell shoulder press, the seated variation, and I'm actually using like kind of an incline bench, and I have it set all the way up. And I like this variation because with like a regular seat, it's so rigid, and when you're kind of in an incline just a little bit, then you get better side deltoid activation just because of the position of your arm in space. So that's why I kind of like this variation a little bit more. Anyway, I'm doing 60 pounds in each arm, and I've done 3 warm-up sets so far. I did like a 35, I did a 40, and I did a 50, and now we're getting into the working set of 60 pounds. So let's get into it, shall we? I'm really gonna emphasize full range of motion, strict repetitions for this. Okay, that was a pretty good first set. I was having like a little bit of elbow discomfort there. I don't know why, maybe I'm just not warmed up completely properly, but it wasn't like any excruciating pain. It was just like a little bit of discomfort every time I would reach that full range of motion bottom. I think I'm in the clear, to be honest. All right, that was a great first set. Let's try and beat the repetition. So I got 10 for the first set, and I think that I'm gonna go for 11. Let's see how it goes. Oh man, I guess I can't get 11. I guess that 10 is that like stopping point for me, but I aim for 11 and I hit 10, so that means that that's true failure. And at any time that you guys hit true failure with good form on an exercise, you know that you achieved the most out of that set that you could possibly get. I mean, I've seen research studies about like comparing intensity techniques to straight sets, and as long as failure is equated in terms of people are going to their absolute limit for muscular failure, then there's no difference. So, and that even holds true with rep ranges. You're doing super high reps, as long as you get to failure, it's gonna have the same stimulus as heavier weight, lower reps for hypertrophy's sake, that is. Next up, I'm moving from a primarily shoulder exercise into more of a bicep exercise. In fact, it's a bicep isolation exercise. It's the incline dumbbell curl. I'm gonna start with doing it bilaterally, so both arms And then once I reach failure with that, I'll swap to one arm at a time, just so that I can get as much stimulus as I possibly can and make sure that I hit failure. Because I don't know if you guys are the same way, but on this exercise in particular, the incline seated dumbbell curl, I tend to kind of shut down a little bit shy of failure, you know, a little bit before I actually hit that true failure. I don't know what it is, maybe because it's just such a darn difficult exercise. In fact, I'd probably say that it's one of the most difficult bicep exercises. That could be the case. Or maybe it's because I program it in the later half, like towards the end of my workouts for the most part. Anyway, let's get into it. Okay, now swapping to unilateral. Oh my God. I know you guys can't feel what I'm feeling unless you're doing it yourself. But wow, that makes such a huge difference. I've never done this type of variation in terms of, you know, like doing bilateral and then swapping unilateral on the incline dumbbell curl. It's something else. For real, you guys gotta try it. But anyway, I forgot to mention that I'm supersetting this with wrist curls. I like to superset my bicep work with some forearm work because they're synergistic. I always like to start my forearm work supinated, so my hand facing my face, because you're strongest in this position. It just feels best, and that's working this whole section of the forearm. So it's working like the largest chunk, and then when you're doing it pronated and you're extending your wrist like this, then you're working this portion of the forearm. So you definitely want to include both, you know. Anyway, it's a shame that there are so many skeletal muscles in the human body, because as somebody that is really passionate about lifting like this, I want to hypertrophy all of the muscles possible, but there's just too many and not enough time to recover. And just if you like train every muscle individually, then you'd get way too fatigued and it would mess with your recovery way too much and it just wouldn't work. And you know, therefore we just kind of got to pick and choose. Like, how many guys train their necks? How many guys train their tib anterior, this muscle along your lower leg? Not many people at all, you know. So I think it kind of goes back to forearm training. I feel like, you know, not many people give forearms their due. And even with me, like, I don't train forearms that much, that directly. I don't allocate a lot of time towards it. But part of me would really like to. I just don't have all day to be training, nor should I be training all day. That'd be nuts. Okay, now down to unilateral. One, two, three. Dang. Honestly, I mean, you can do all the volume you want, but unless you're putting in some intensity, you're not going to be getting that much out of it. I feel like that set was worth 4 sets of like a less superior bicep exercise. Next, I'm moving on to hit the other side of the arm. So instead of doing the biceps, we're now focusing on the triceps. Starting off with a bilateral cable push down, and I'm supersetting that since it's not a very like fatiguing exercise with the side lateral unilateral cable. So I'm just getting the side deltoid, and I really like to emphasize the side deltoid by giving it its own exercises, because you're hitting the back side, the posterior side of the shoulder through a lot of like your rows and your vertical pulls and stuff like that. But then you're hitting the anterior frontal portion of the shoulder whenever you're doing like any type of press. So any horizontal press, any vertical press, especially vertical press, and you know, even a little bit of decline work. So that's why I'm giving this one its own fair due, and I think that it's really important because that's what's responsible for getting like a wider frame, if you guys are interested in that. I upped the weight from 14 to 15.5. All right, on to the bilateral cable push down. I've said it before, but I'll mention it real quick. I love using a bar attachment instead of the rope attachment, because with the rope attachment you don't have as much stability as with the bar attachment. Yes, you can probably get a little bit of a deeper range of motion with the push down, maybe if it's like a longer rope, but if it's a shorter one, then you're actually gonna be stopping shy, because the part of the cable is gonna be hitting, you know, your private regions or something like that before you can get that full extension of the tricep. So I don't know. I like the extra stability component. I'm always looking for a stability component in any exercise. Anyway, let's get after it. Okay, I got 12 solid reps there, and then a couple like partials, so I'll take it. Got a little bit difficult towards the end there. That's what you want. Okay. Up next, I'm flipping the script a little bit in terms of I'm just like changing up the cable. So I raised one and lowered the other, and that's all it takes, because I'm going from on one cable doing the tricep push down to now I lowered it and I'm going to do some cable curls. And then over here, instead of doing side deltoids, I just raised it a little bit, and then we're gonna be doing unilateral extensions. So we went from doing tricep extensions in this plane to now doing it above the head like this in humeral flexion. And whenever you can get some humeral flexion, the humerus being flexed like above the body like this overhead, you're gonna be hitting the long head to a larger degree just because of how the muscle inserts and originates. So let's do it. So I like to include a little bit of both into my programming. And because it's a cable exercise and it's a single joint exercise, it's not extremely fatiguing. So I can kind of get away with having both variations in the same day. I only got 11 there. I don't think that I could have gone another rep. They get really difficult. A little form tidbit with these that I'm trying to, remind myself on each and every rep is at the bottom, I'm pausing for a second, because that's like the deepest stretch that your triceps can endure is through humeral extension. And then, having your arm all the way down, just try it just like this. You don't have to have a weight. You feel a deep stretch. So I'm just pausing at the bottom to make sure that I get that aspect of the range of motion in spades. I'm kind of going like across my body with the cable. There we go. After I completed that 11th rep, I really just focused on that slow and controlled eccentric or lowering phase part of the movement. It's something that I kind of try to keep in the back of my mind at the end of each and every set. Is the eccentric is going to be the most important for hypertrophy out of any other phase in a repetition. And therefore, even when you're fully gassed, you should still try and milk that eccentric. All right, There's some bicep curls next. Frick. What are the odds that I only get 11 repetitions for the cable curl as well? It's kind of funny to me that I got completely gassed out of, and 11, so I couldn't hit 10 or 12. Something that I would probably change about this current lift is, instead of, I don't know if you guys could see the particular bar that I'm doing, but it's kind of a shorter straight bar for the attachment on the cable for the bicep curls. I prefer something that's more of like the easy bar shape, where it's almost like a W, like a very flattened out W. Because with this bar, I'm so like, my grip is so narrow, and it's really challenging to get that full range of motion. At least I find it that way because my hips kind of get in the way. So I think that having more of the W bar, where your hands are more in a relaxed or just easier to manage position, and then it's more going to be like shoulder width instead of kind of narrow grip. I think that would just it's a better variation overall in my eyes. Now, please, like, if you guys prefer a certain variation, you don't listen to me. If you're going to, I think that whatever like feels best with your specific anatomy is going to be the way to go. Anyway, I think I've rested long enough, so let's go to the next set. Crap. Fortunately, I can only complete 10 there. Sometimes I feel like if I don't hit the same repetition metrics, then I'm not actually resting long enough or working hard enough. But that's not always the case. That could be the case in some terms, but with this, I don't really think it's the case. I think that my triceps are just kind of getting a little bit gassed. I mean, we're still at the end of week 1, but it's still week 1. My body hasn't fully adapted to this level of volume yet. More. Another form cue that I'm proposing to myself is I'm trying to keep my elbow in the same position the whole time. It's kind of impossible to keep it like exactly in the same position, but you don't want to be moving around too much because that's just gonna, likely involve more muscles than you want working. You know what I mean? You want just to just try and isolate your tricep in this given lift. Yeah, the biceps. I forgot, but I was supposed to do wrist curls. Not the best example, I guess. I'm just flipping around and doing these wrist curls behind my back. Just to get a little bit of an extra stimulus for the wrists. Or sorry, for the forearms. I'm just gonna take like a 30-second break and then hit it again. So I get a total of 2 sets of forearm work with the cable. Something that I've considered is doing a 7th day, but a day that's like very, very minimal, where I'm just hitting body parts that don't get very much work, direct work, that is. Everything's getting hit in a pretty even proportion, but not everything is getting direct work. And, you know, some things that come to mind is, you know, that would add a little bit of a higher frequency to like calves and abs since they rotate. And then it would also add a higher frequency to forearms. And then I could also add in like some spinal erector focus through the back extension exercise. And then I could also add, you know, some upper trap, some more direct upper trap work. It's already being supersetted in with a couple of lifts, but it's not very direct. But I'm thinking that this program is going to remain the way it is, and for my next hypertrophy program, then I'll do it that way. But this one's harder right now, and I already think that the volume is a ton. It's very difficult to recover from. In fact, I've been contemplating going back in there and either reducing the amount of weeks or slowing down the progression, so that it's not at like 22 sets by then, but in fact it'll stop at 20, then it'll take a little bit longer to get there. I just think that that would probably be ideal for most people, since the average person doesn't want to be in the gym 6 days a week anyway. So why would they want to be doing the insane amount of volume that I'm putting myself through? But that's just a thought, but I may end up doing it. All right, guys. All that I have left is 3 sets of the standing calf raise and then 2 sets of the seated machine calf raise. And I'm not gonna actually film that because it's not super entertaining to watch. In fact, the calves are very challenging to get like a good angle of and, you know, talk through and stuff like that. So that's gonna wrap up today. This is day 6, week 1 of my MyoMax training program. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I know that I was pretty much in the same area the whole time. So I hope that it didn't really get very boring in terms of scenery, but you know, I prefer programming things in a way where I don't have to flip-flop around the gym too much. And I think that most people would agree that that's just more convenient and efficient. Just an overall easier and better way to train. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one with week 2, day 1 of my MyoMax training program. Peace.